Today, we're going to deconstruct the blueprint of a modern school project. It's a really fascinating look at how education is shifting away from just memorizing facts and more towards building real-world skills and, ultimately better citizens.
Think back for a second. What was your most memorable school project? Come on, I bet you have one. Was it the classic baking soda volcano? Or maybe a diorama crammed into a shoebox? We all have one of those, right? Well, those projects stick with us because they were about doing something, not just reading. And that very idea is the engine behind this whole new approach we're exploring.
So, let's dive in. We're working from a really detailed blueprint for a 5th grade project, and it's called My Neighborhood. But as you're about to see, this is so much more than a simple assignment. It's a carefully designed learning experience.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with the why, the philosophy behind it all. Then we'll explore the hands-on and creative activities. After that, we'll get into how something like this is even graded. And finally, we'll uncover the project's ultimate goal, building better citizens. Every great project has to have a solid foundation, right? Modern school assignments aren't just random activities anymore. They're built on a strong educational philosophy. So let's dig in and find out the why behind this one.
The core idea here is something called experiential learning. In short, it's just learning by doing. Remember that volcano project? That was it. That was experiential learning. Instead of just reading about a community in a textbook, students go out and experience it directly. It's all about active participation and then taking a moment to reflect on that experience.
And you can see here how it all connects. This project is built on several key principles. You've got competency-based education, which focuses on skills over scores. There's art-integrated pedagogy, which we'll get to in a moment. And this whole approach is aligned with major educational reforms like India's National Education Policy 2020. So how do these big ideas actually translate into lessons for kids? Well, they're used to teach really fundamental concepts, like identifying community helpers, understanding public services, and learning about the importance of cleanliness and safety in their own environment. Okay, now for the really active part of the project. This is where the theory gets put into practice, and where learning literally moves outside the classroom. What's really cool is how this structures the whole experience. First, students go on an observation walk to just see their neighborhood with fresh eyes. Then they actually interview a community helper, maybe a shopkeeper or a police officer, to get a first-hand account. And finally, they pull all of that information together by creating a map of their community. But the hands-on learning doesn't stop there. The next pillar of this project uses creativity and art, not just as a fun little add-on, but as a core tool for understanding and expressing what they've learned. And this is called art-integrated pedagogy. The key idea here is that art isn't just a separate subject. It's the medium through which students process what they've learned. So instead of, writing a report, they might draw a map or build a model. So after their walk and their interview, students could draw a colorful map or build a 3D model of their main street using recycled boxes, or even design a poster for a clean and safe neighborhood campaign. Each task reinforces those core lessons in a tangible, creative way. Okay. This is the part a lot of people wonder about. If students are out walking around and building models, how in the world do you grade that? Well, this brings us to a more modern approach to assessment. It's a great question, isn't it? When a project is about more than just getting answers right or wrong, a traditional test just doesn't work. You need a different kind of tool to measure what really matters. And here's that tool. It's a rubric. As you can see, it measures things like observation skills, like did the student notice the fire hydrant on the corner? It assesses their creativity and their participation. Now, understanding is still there, but it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. This brings us to the final, and maybe the most important part of this whole blueprint. This project isn't just about learning facts. It has a much deeper goal. And the crucial point is this: the academic learning is really just a vehicle for something bigger. The ultimate aim here is to shape thoughtful, responsible young citizens who understand their place in a community. Through all these activities, the project is specifically designed to foster key values: responsibility, respect, cleanliness, and cooperation. And these aren't things you can learn from a textbook, right? They have to be learned through experience, through doing. This summary from the Blueprint's own section on values and life skills really says it all. The purpose is explicitly stated. The knowledge of the neighborhood, that's the what. But fostering these values, that's the why. And that leaves us with a pretty powerful final thought.
What if this wasn't just one special project, but the standard? What if every single school project was designed to teach citizenship, not just facts? Now that is a compelling vision for the future of learning.